Welcome back, viewers. Focus is on the big story. After the fortnight of PM Modi's address at the Independence Day, when he had announced the next generation reforms in the GST, a GST council comprising the union and the states has collectively agreed to the proposal submitted by the union government. The union minister Nirmala Sitharaman yesterday had stated that all the decisions were taken unanimously with no disagreement with any state. The panel also approved simplifying the GST tax from the current 4 slabs of 5, 12, 28, 18% to a 2-rate structure and 2-tier of the 5 and 18% overall. The Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has also clarified that these reforms are not linked to the ongoing US tariff impositions, as in fact most have also raised their opposition on that, as they had been working on these reforms for over a year now. While several people have welcomed these reforms, some have also opposed the questioning that why were these reforms not brought in 8 years ago. Now, viewers, let me also welcome a very special guest on my broadcast to also speak to at this point to decode the pulse of how the GST historic cut has unfolded. Like Navneet Goel, who is a former Principal Chief Commissioner of Customs and CGST, is joining me live on the broadcast. Thank you very much, sir, for speaking to us. Appreciate you joining me live on the broadcast. At this point of time, we see an impact that has been also being tracked from the markets of the historic GST cuts. Ever since after the Independence Day, we have been expecting about the markets to also react in a way after the latest reforms that have come in. After 22nd September, people are also expecting to have the impact in their lives as well after the cuts will be implemented. In your opinion, after the big announcement yesterday of the 10-hour-long Union and States meeting, how did you find these reforms coming in at this point of time? Also share highlight on how the timeliness of these reforms has impacted the common man, particularly right now.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to your channel. As regards, the timeliness of these reforms, this could not have been a, better timing. The festival season is very near. People have been, and we should look at these reforms, not one isolated reform, but government had been taking, some reforms. If you, let me recount. We started with reduction of bank rates. Then the income tax rates limits were rationalized, and now the GST reforms. Government is slowly moving towards policy where more money would be put in the pockets of the consumer, and then consumer will drive the sales and the businesses. The same thing now. Festival season is very near, and duties have been reduced on a whole lot of items which are used by consumers on a day-to-day basis. Packaged food items, essential items, and so many other things. This will drive the market up and it will increase the consumer demand. Thank you.
Absolutely. But there also has to be an understanding of how the tax slabs, the much more headache that was earlier for the consumer has come in a more effective and a very resolved manner, as we see that from the percent of the 5, now the lower tax has been now slashed to the nil. And now we see that there are more additional tax slabs of 40% on other sin and aspirational goods, which is mostly like cigarettes, cold drinks, big cars and bikes. So can we expect that the much larger thought behind imposing 40% on these items was to also make a tax from that particular sector where they can afford the luxury items heavier?
You see, the 40% rate has been put only on a few items like, pan masala, gutka, tobacco products, which are considered sin products, and large cars, large motorcycles, which are considered luxury items. Now, this somehow has not been still treated as items of mass use. Maybe as our country advances, as our society advances, maybe luxury items like cars, motorcycles, maybe 5-7 years from now, these limits could be rationalized. But as regards pan masala, gutka, cigarettes, the society as such seeks higher duties on them. And that's why the government has put these higher duties.
Absolutely. Now, even when you saw these, the reduction and the rationalization of how it has been divided so far, what do you think for the festive season coming ahead? The biggest steering factor for the common person is going to be, as even in the announcement when officially this decision was taken, it was expected that the most beneficial sector apart from the agrarian sector is going to be a common man. The money is going to come into the hand of a common person where they are going to also put in their investments into the market, and that is going to spear and spur the economy further. So how do you think that is going to come up as the festive season also is just days in fact to go?
You see, the duties which have been reduced for common man items, they will immediately be passed on. You see, if we analyze these, there are 2, 3 stages by which the goods which are produced by factories, they reach the common man. Now let us analyze these sectors one by one. First is the factories which are producing these items. Now in these cases, the duties have been reduced on the final item, but the cost structure more or less remains the same. So the input credit of these factories will more or less remain the same. They will therefore like to use their credit of the existing raw materials with them and would like to push their sales because they will not like to get into the hassle of inverted duty refunds. Now, next stage comes the wholesalers and the retailers. The wholesalers and retailers will be asked by their factories to, buy stocks. Now, the problem is that the customers in some areas have already, stopped buying since the announcement of 15th August. And they may not turn up in huge numbers till 22nd September because they will wait for prices to fall. Therefore, the retailers and wholesalers now, in my opinion, will have to start giving some kind of discount schemes at this stage itself and not wait till 22nd September so that the existing stocks with them can be liquidated. And therefore, I believe that this price decrease can happen sooner and earlier than 22nd September. May not happen fully, but some kind of effect we can see immediately. The key would be that the inverted duty structure, because now they will be saddled with goods which are coming at earlier which were at 12%, and now they are selling at 5%. So there will be some duty credits with them. Government has already promised fast refund mechanism, automated refund mechanism, and therefore that problem will be taken care of.
Mr. Goel, very rightly said, in fact, and I appreciate you putting this in complete valid perspective as well. But one valid question in another, in fact, direction that is arising out of this big announcement is that just a few days ago, all the debate and also the understanding of how major sectors, the labor intensive one particularly, have been facing a big setback by the blow of the additional tariffs. Now, even though Union Finance Ministry has clarified that this has nothing to do with the additional threat that has come in and also making a blow to the people of the sectors of jewelry, garments and textile as well. But at the same time, right now, one must also think that can this big announcement also trigger some sort of relief to those who have been massively impacted during the tariff threat, the sectors and the businesses that were also in fact facing a big blow. Can this also bring some relief to them, in your opinion?
Yes, it's a very important question. First of all, let us see whether the Trump tariffs will really impact us in a big way. I have done an analysis. You see, textiles, we are exporting just about 2-3% of our total production to the US. On paper, it is around 6%, but a large amount of our businesses are in gray areas and are not in formal sector. So just about 2-3% of our production we are selling to US. So the job losses that we feel will happen may not happen to that extent. Secondly, government has announced in this, yesterday's GST Council thing, big relief for various sectors. Textiles, for instance, there used to be inverted duty structure. Fiber, yarn attracted higher duties than the textiles and the garments and made-ups. What they've done now is put a uniform 5% GST rate on the entire stream. So the capital which used to get blocked at various stages will not happen now. and the manufacturers and traders will save on their costs in that way. Secondly, the garments up to 2,500 rupees now will be cheaper. So that is one way to increase demand in the market and bring more players in the formal sector and organized sector. So this is one way to support the textile sector. The other sectors, like agriculture, a large amount of our population is in agriculture sector. We are aware that large amount of fruits, vegetables would go waste. Now, when we are reducing these GST rates on pre-packaged foods, the prices will decrease. Our upper middle class will get used to, there are so many working couples now, and their lady does not have time to cook food on a daily basis. And large number of them are depending on these pre-packaged foods. Once the prices go down, this industry will get a fillip. It will help the agri sector because this benefit will translate to them also, and we'll be able to capture the value addition. So this sector has also been taken care of. And similarly, the hospitality sector. In the tourism is one area where large number of people are employed. And we have reduced the GST rate on hotels with prices less than 7,500 rupees. We have also reduced rates on, salons, fashion industry, etc. This is one area where a large number of people get employed. So government has taken care of these sectors, and I'm sure if there are job losses also in those other sectors affected by Trump tariff, these factors will take care of that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Navneet Goel, and appreciate you joining in and speaking to us, taking out the time for decoding how exactly the impact has been, and most importantly, which sectors are going to make the most of it, and which are in fact also going to have a benefit, a profitable share out of it. Mr. Navneet Goel, thank you very much. Appreciate you joining me live for the conversation. Now, viewers, from there, let's shift our focus to more developments. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's meeting